Hi, my name's Ben. I work for the Game House, and today we're going to be looking at the top 5 free agent running backs in the 2023 offseason. So, the free agent running class is actually kind of deep this year. Some names that aren't making the list are names like Damian Harris, Jamal Williams, Rashad Penny, Devin Singletary, players like that could definitely add some value to an offense, but just aren't quite there for me because the top 5 are so set in stone. All right, so kicking it off, we have David Montgomery, who is a 25-year-old running back for the Chicago Bears. He had 201 rushes for 801 yards and 5 touchdowns last season. Now, the Bears really like David Montgomery, and they have a lot of cap space. So this will really come down to whether or not Montgomery really wants to play for a contender, or if he just wants to stick around to see what the Bears are going to do. He very well might not be a free agent, but if he is, he could really add some versatility to any offense because he can catch the ball as well. Next up, we have Miles Sanders, who had a career year last year in a contract year. He had 259 rushing attempts for 1,269 yards and 11 touchdowns. He had 1,347 yards from scrimmage and helped lead the Eagles to a Super Bowl appearance. A lot of that is the scheme that he was working with a running quarterback in one of the most run-heavy offenses in the entire league. But he can obviously be very productive. He's versatile, and even though he had a bad Super Bowl, he had just 16 yards, he could absolutely be a valuable piece to an offense that just needs a little bit of an upgrade at the running back position. All right, I don't think anyone's going to fight me on this one. Tony Pollard is on the list. A lot of people called Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard Thunder and Lightning. Tony Pollard was obviously the Lightning. He runs so fast, and he still runs hard. He had 1,007 yards last year and 9 touchdowns. In 2022, the Cowboys actually averaged 5.7 yards per play here, according to CBS, with Pollard on the field. Now, that's huge. Pollard may want to stay with the Cowboys, although they're in a bit of a tricky cap situation, and he may want to go be a running back one somewhere else. He definitely has the talent to do it, and he has the talent to show that he's not just an additive piece behind a big back like Zeke. He can be a bell cow all on his own. It should be very interesting to see where he chooses to go and what kind of scheme they choose to use Pollard in, because if he was utilized a little bit more in the passing game, that could give you another vertical threat that people might not be expecting. All right, yet another running back who had a career year and a contract year, that's Josh Jacobs. Now, the Raiders turned down Josh Jacobs' 5th-year option last year, and now he will become a free agent. He had 340 attempts for 1,653 yards and 12 touchdowns. That's huge considering the Raiders didn't want to gamble on him and give him that contract that he probably deserved. And it's even bigger considering how bad the Raiders were last year, including that offensive line. Now, he is 25, just like the last couple of running backs I just mentioned, but I don't really see him falling off a cliff. A lot of people have Josh Jacobs as a stay away from spending big money on, kind of just because he's a running back. But if you were going to give a running back sort of mid-tier money, I don't think you could do a lot better than Josh Jacobs. Adding him to your offense adds a bruiser, and he'll be eager to show his next fan base that he can earn that contract. I think even though he has been a bit injury-prone in the past, Josh Jacobs could be a real difference maker for a contender. And then these really haven't been in order, but we all know who number 1 is. It's Saquon Barkley. Again, I think the Giants are probably going to want him back considering how great of a year he had last year, and that includes 295 rushes for 1,312 yards and a huge 10 touchdowns. He also added 57 catches for 338 yards. Saquon has been one of the most injury-prone running backs in the league. Ask any fantasy manager who has been unfortunate enough to draft him in the past couple of years. But this year, he stayed healthy, he proved what he can do, and he proved that he was worth the top pick that the Giants spent on him. Now, whoever's getting him will be running a bit of a gamble here on whether or not he can still stay healthy, but obviously when he is, he's going to be one of the best running backs in the league. I think he proved that, and I don't really think he falls off a cliff until about 28, 29. And he's 26 right now. So he still has some good years left in him. If they can sign him to a 2 to 3 year contract for some reasonable money, he could absolutely help a team reach the Super Bowl. So those are my picks for the top running backs in the 2023 free agent class. Let me know who you have down in the comments, and thanks for staying tuned to the Game House.